Oh, for goodness sake, there's that water again. I'm just getting a little old for this. But we try to have something uplifting and summer-like and all that, so the water runs. And we have another chapter of Swimming Upstream radio show. I'm Dorothy Wilhelm. I'm not surprised to be here, so I'm hoping that you're not surprised to find me. I have a very special guest today. On this show, we try to find wonderful people who are doing wonderful things that you'll never hear about on the 6 o'clock news. And today, my special friend for that nomination is GinaNTD. That means not the daughter. I have a daughter named Gina, and she is GinaNTD. Anyway, Gina Carey, not the daughter. What were you doing last night that you care to talk about?
I was being escorted by campus security. And I will tell you why.
Why?
Because I drove to a very tiny campus in Michigan called Baker College. I had never been there before. And it's in a small little town called Owasso. And I got lost on this tiny little campus. And a very nice campus police officer asked me where I needed to be. And he drove me right there. And he was very chivalrous. And that was lovely. And I, of course, was 2 minutes away from the building I needed to be at. So I spoke to a group of women last night. And my topic was not your mama's self-care.
Oh.
And it was a lot of fun.
Well, we'll have to get you to do a rundown on that, but not today.
Not today. We have other plans.
Today, we are going to talk about legacies, which is something that we're doing now, and what legacies are. I never was sure what, and it almost turns out that anything can be. It's how people remember you. How do you describe it? A legacy is something that happens when you're not in the room? Is it?
Sort of. I mean, I really did start to question legacy. I think you and I got to talking about it. And, I thought initially I used to think legacy was about leaving your kids money or stuff, or
they thought that too.
Exactly. And what I came to realize is that legacy is what remains of you in others when you're no longer in the room. And that can be while we're still living. We're living and sharing our legacy, I think, in every moment that we interact or are in relationship with friends, family, community.
Yeah, I think it's even better if, we're new and it's people that you haven't known before, because it forces you to think about things in a new and different way. Yeah. We've been struggling. I don't think struggling is the right word. I've got kind of beginnings of our book on legacy, and I'm not so sure what we think about it. What would you say we think about it?
Well, I think we're having a lot of fun with it, because the more we work it and the more we talk about it, I mean, like, I bring things up to you like that my grandmother's dry sink. I didn't know what the heck a dry sink was.
That's right. And
I think your papers are shuffling against your microphone. I'm hearing a lot of.
And why not?
There we go. Oh, that's much better. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Anyway, tell about grandmother's dry sink.
Yeah. And this piece of furniture, and all I know is that somehow I ended up with my grandma's dry sink, and I remember wanting it. It was the only thing of my grandmother's that I wanted, because the drawers still smelled like my grandfather's pipe tobacco. And it still has my grandmother's paper linings in the drawers. And then you popped in and you said, well, I know what a dry sink is.
I did say that. I even hear it says here, can't resist adding. I just thought they might like to know what we were saying.
Well, exactly.
Can't resist adding my own memories here. Interesting thing about the dry sink, it's also a wet sink. A dry sink is a wooden cabinet-style piece of furniture from the 18th or 19th century used before indoor plumbing to hold a wash basin and pitcher for cleaning and food preparation. How do you like that?
I love it.
Today include kitchen storage, rustic vanities, planters, and home bars. Yeah. I'm able to remember my grandma and her sons using their dry sink. There was always a soap, usually Lifebuoy, and wash basins standing by when they came in from the field. They threw the water right out there when the boys finished washing. And I can remember that whole area smelling of soap, and Lifebuoy. So,
Yes.
so, and so in a way, I guess what we think kind of is that your real legacy maybe is your memory. Maybe it's what you remember.
Yes, and my daughter got me one of those hardcover books that's just filled with pages asking me questions about everything from childhood on. And I've found that sitting with that, I'm able to do one or two questions at a time. I can't do much more than that because really accessing those memories, there's this desire to share all the richness of the story, and yet feeling like I don't have all the time to share the richness of this story and put all the details in and things. And that's why sharing and telling stories together while we're here and able to do that kind of thing with our children, with our grandchildren, with our best friends is so important.
It is, and goodness, now see, I moved deeply, and so, but and we've been recently having a real struggle, I think, because a friend of ours was lost, and you don't know how to memorialize them in a way. For instance, I think you were talking about your mom that you were especially remembering, and I was talking about at this time my husband. In fact, and sometimes it's a big thing because if you go to San Francisco and the gates of the Presidio of San Francisco, there are two great big Rodman cannons. Do you know what a Rodman cannon is?
Yes, I do.
How about that? Nobody else does. Anyway, there are two single bore cannons that Raj actually dug up under the Golden Gate Bridge when we were stationed there.
I didn't
And
know that.
no, and they were buried because during the Spanish-American War, so as they couldn't be taken away and used against America. And so those two cannons are at the gate today. That it was Lieutenant Wilhelm in those days who discovered and brought out. And so that, in a way, that's easy because
Right. To actually be able to go to a place and see a thing and have your name memorialized. And
but for most of us, that probably isn't in the cards. Kind of, since you've been working on this book and all, what do you think? What's your favorite memorial of you? Pretend you can't follow us around anymore.
oh my goodness. Well, because I was around in the beginning of the internet, I think that I love the fact that my children are able to see me, hear me, watch my animated face. I do not have a poker face. And so, for who knows how long after I pass, I don't know how long I'll be around on the internet, but any video I made, any presentation I did, any writing, they have access to me. And
And
I
yet,
think that's beautiful.
it is beautiful, but it kind of is a reminder to us. We have a dear friend who passed away this last month or so, and we're having difficulty memorializing her properly.
Right. And so many, when we began to look for her And this is one of the amazing things about technology, how it can be so useful, healing, um, and emotional.
Yeah,
Seeing and hearing Pat's voice.
we didn't say who it
And oh, we didn't. Yes, we didn't say who it was, but our friend's voice, and being able to access her. And so when we got to talking about her, I know both of us were laughing because we were remembering the shows that we did, and she was a regular on Coffee Chat.
right.
Yeah.
And
And would you like me to share the little piece of writing, or do we want to just say a
no, I would
few?
like you to share it. I would like you to say her name was Pat Schwab, and she was a professional speaker and humorist.
Yes.
So, yeah, and so you've written something. We've been trying, and I must say you've done better than I have so far. So, and that's one thing I think that speaks for doing your legacy designation. Well, nobody needs it because I'm really having. I've got lots of stuff about Pat, and I can't put them together. Sometimes you just can't. So
Well, and somebody said to me just the other day how she appreciates that everything I do comes from such a place of love.
mm,
And one of the labels maybe that I'm trying to steam off me is busy. I don't want my legacy to be she was always busy,
you
but
know,
rather, oh, what were you going to
I
say?
was going to say that's what I get too.
Yeah.
I don't think they mean busy because I don't think that's what either one of us is. I don't busy.
No.
I don't like it. It really offends me. But I
And I have if you can believe it, I have another woman who I really admire and who has been one of my mentors besides you. And her name is Marianne Rodmaker. And she is an author and a teacher and just a beautiful artist. And one of the things that she wrote, one of the sayings is squeeze possibility out of every moment. And I feel like that's how I live my life. And I love everything that I'm doing. I've checked off all the things that I ever wanted to do. And so everything beyond that feels like pure joy. And so this looking up and doing detective work around Pat's life was really a lot of fun. And so one of the things that Dr. Pat Schwab is an author, and
yes,
she had an ebook on Amazon called Obscure Holidays, the Obscure Holidays ebook, which is still available.
yep.
So I started off the writing about her saying, did you know that February is SOB month, and it stands for Spunky Old Broads, which of course swimming upstream is all about. But February is a month-long celebration of women over 50, which you and I both are.
No,
And I said I never knew such a thing existed until I met Dr. Pat Schwab. Pat was our beloved calendar girl on
yeah,
Dorothy Wilhelm's virtual variety show, Coffee Chat and Change the World. She was a regular on the program, and believe me, earning that distinction was no small feat. We always looked forward to Pat's segment because she introduced us to quirky holidays and celebrations we never knew existed. And I mentioned her book again. While listening to a recent interview that Dorothy did with Pat, I was reminded of her wonderful sense of humor. They were discussing the lost art of sending handwritten cards, and Pat shared one of her favorites. It was a photo she had taken of her cat standing on his hind legs with one paw stretched high in the air, and she captioned it, "I swear the mouse was this big." And Pat had a gift for making people laugh. And as Dorothy observed, that's one thing you do really well, Pat. You don't let a friend get away. And so one of the things I admired most about Pat was her ability to roll with the punches, especially when they were delivered by you, Dorothy. You ran a very tight ship on Coffee Chat and Changed the World. And if Pat started talking too soon or stretched a segment a little too long, Dorothy would swiftly pull out the virtual hook. Pat never seemed rattled, though. She took it all in stride. And when her turn came around again, she picked up right where she left off, usually with a laugh. And I say what a laugh it was, because even when Pat stopped attending the program, her laugh stayed with us. And she'll be remembered with the same smile she so often brought to our faces, whether she was teaching us about Be a Kid Again Day on July 8th, or reminding us that life is meant to be enjoyed. We could all learn something from a woman who never forgot how to have fun.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I'm glad you.
That's just lovely. And she would like that. And I think what have we learned now that we've been working on this book, and obviously you've got a few things you did, but what have we learned? What do we know about legacy collection that we didn't know when we started?
Well, I mean, we are learning that we make a difference.
Yes.
We are learning that it's like a scavenger hunt, because I feel like the more that we write, the more we discover, and the more ideas bubble up. And that we could talk about this. There's so many stories, Dorothy. We all have the stories.
Yes.
And we don't have to wait until we pass away to share them.
I wasn't planning to pass away.
Thanks. Not today. Please.
Not so when people will ask, when will our book be available, and we will say thank you for asking, and then what?
When would you like it to be available? We could stop today and have it
No,
in
we
your
won't
hands.
No.
You know what we discussed the end of the year. It'll be
Yeah, that's right. Silly girl. Now, so what this has done too is kind of, we've learned some things doing this.
Yes.
And what would you think before? Because I actually think the end of the year is practical. But what do you know? Since we met each other, which I can't recall, but it's been quite a long while. What do you know that you didn't know?
We have so much in common.
Yeah.
And like you said, if we don't share our legacy stories, they'll be lost.
And I really feel like that is the whole secret, is that's the legacy. Many of us, and I'm sure one, has no money to give. We won't be leaving money behind because there ain't any. But we have something that nobody else has.
Exactly.
Now, you have had the experience, since we've been friends, of seeing your kids grow up and go off to college. What have you learned from that?
You know, one of my kiddos turned to me and said, I want you to know, I get it.
Oh,
I get it now. I see what you do.
That is terrific.
I mean, I know that they're walking around, whether it's feeding people who are unhoused, paying attention to a child or an animal, and serving first, always being of service. That they got that from their mama.
See,
no doubt about it.
And that's the one you wanted.
Yeah. It really is, because then I know it continues.
And then I think too, we have more than we think we do. I mean, I talk to so many people that think, well, I couldn't do that. This is a continuing theme here. I couldn't do it. I don't, one thing and another.
Yeah.
But that's not true. We got plenty.
Yeah. So you do what you can do. If you
and
can't do what we're doing, do what you can do.
go have a nice drink.
Sure,
Why,
always.
why not? So we have managed to make our way through this inspirational legacy show. And hopefully when people actually see this recording, we'll have pictures of Pat in there.
That'd be great.
Not, if I say that and there is no picture of Pat, well, you'll wish there were. But I expect that there will be. So anyway, so we're lucky because we get to enrich our own lives with doing new things, trying new things, often things we'd never have done otherwise. Lei Wang was on the show last week, and she's saying the same thing. Keep trying and do more. That's.
Why not? What else have you got to do?
Oh,
come on, do something. No. You and I know how to live. You and I know how to squeeze possibility out of every moment. We really do.
Well, I think we do, but I think, and I may have told you this, I don't know if I've told the audience, but how I learned all this is that, I have 4 sons. They are lovely sons, and they are married to lovely girls. But when they brought, without exception, when the guys brought home the lovely girls, I discouraged them from marrying the lovely girls because I could see lots of things. Oh, they just wouldn't work. They wouldn't work out. And here is the wonderful thing. They ignored me totally. They went right at this moment that the oldest has been married 51 years. So that one worked out. And all of them were very polite. Now, this is the funny thing. They were very polite about it, but they ignored me totally. And all of them are still not only happily married, but enjoying each other. So when my youngest brought home the girl he was going to marry, and I didn't like her at all. And so I called him over and told him what I thought were some of the things that were wrong with her. And he said, well, Mother, it's so strange that you'd say that, because you see, what attracted me to her is she reminds me so much of you. And that's how I learned this about it. They've been married 38 years. So I think it's like it's a journey. It's a camel ride. It's a wonderful trip with your dearest friends, and it's
our legacy.
Yeah,
that's legacy.
That's
I love you, Dorothy.
I love you too, honey. We'll run away together.
Okay.
First of the year.
All right. Right after the book published.
That's right. Thank you for coming. Oh, and now I have to say, and you have to say, we thank everybody for listening in. Speak something.
Thank you all. We are always grateful for the audience and for any of your feedback too. Not that we'll take it, but we will.
That's absolutely right. So this is an SOB radio production. SOB stands for Spunky Old Broads. We know what we're doing, don't you doubt it. And I'll see you next time. This is Dorothy Wilhelm.